everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Dual Destinies. Today we are going to be covering the second day of the Cosmic Turnabout trial. It might only take me a couple of videos, and then after that, that's pretty much it, right? It's a very short case. Not as short as the first one, but still pretty short. I need to stop waking up with stuffy noses. December 20th. Oh, we don't even get a briefing in the middle. Okay. Nothing in the defendant bench? What? Oh, I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something?
Objection!
Your Honor? Could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh, yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tonate self-destructed. Oh yeah, he kinda did, didn't he? I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tonate. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? Huh? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time. Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. He sure has. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Tarrant, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the launch pad corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And? How could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That's a cursed fellow. He killed my witness, and he killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argued that there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
Blah. To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge, or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. Oh, snap! In any case, Mr. Starbucks claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person? Indeed they did. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she still didn't see this mysterious person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh?
Very well. Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand.
Oh boy.
Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers.
Of course you have!
Of course you have! For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was, of course, named after me, Yuri Cosmos! Don't you have anything to wish to ask me?
Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched the HAT-1 and...
Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at which seeing such great man stand before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony?
Ha ha ha! I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my special testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history.
That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head.
Now then, Mr. Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Witness testimony! Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity! But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous actions to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs! Ha 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 ha!
Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men.
Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else.
Cross-examination!
Okay, we're pressing the last statement. About him saying that he might have seen Starbuck. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. Press.
Hold it!
Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time, but other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but couldn't see who the other person was.
So, for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, isn't that correct?
I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director?
Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time, blah. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was a defendant. When the witness wasn't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off of the scene?
Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time.
But what escape route could this person have used?
The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well... If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who lived under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of the said moon for what we've done to it. Phoenix Wright, you are a Sailor Moon fan, I see. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
Ha ha ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her.
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure?
I imagine her instinct as a detective told her they were the killer.
I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then... she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure.
2 warning shots?
This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony.
Yes, please do. And I'm going to present that bullet hole when you said she fired 2 shots, because...
Hold it!
Oh, sorry, not press. And near these 2 shots hit the culprit?
That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose.
But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. So, Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info's come out. Wonder if I can find any inconsistencies. Yes, we can! I just did the wrong thing. Present! Bullet hole stuff!
Objection!
Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words! Words that will someday be written down in history books!
Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books.
Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand?
You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. And yet Director Cosmos is saying that Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction to a history book.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. What did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a 38.38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. What?! Welp! There goes our argument. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Well then, rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? And examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a 38 caliber, huh? From a 38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Very good. Now we know the fate of both the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, it doesn't. We still have another bullet. No, Your Honor, it doesn't! Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh? Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggested the possibility of a third person at the scene? This puny little bullet.
Take that!
And what is this metal pellet supposed to be? Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of the Detective Arm's .38 calibers. Then that means... Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. The third person who had a gun that could fire .10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival! Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. What's this now? Bravo! What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Haha! Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmo really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Why? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please, give accurate testimony. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Taryn on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Huh. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person,
They escaped through the southern door, then the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishand one, and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the .10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
Ooh, I am running all over my words today. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. Ah! I did forget all about that. I kinda did too, whoops. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost?
I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Eek!
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Ha-ha! I'm glad you ask! It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What?
That's pretty awesome. That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh wow! Look at that! There's one extra Gausa star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos.
But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand.
I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out.
Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Okay. We're gonna present that bullet when he said that he was up in the east when they fired us, because that doesn't seem to work, considering where the bullet was found.
We were still in the court control room, blah blah blah.
Presenting the bullet again.
Objection!
Hold on, man. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie.
A great man like me, tell a lie! Have you ever heard such a thing in all of history?
My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door. And the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from that position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. Yeah, we found the bullet behind this. However, we found the .10 caliber bullet here. Oh! This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. Sorry, I pushed that too fast. Didn't mean to do that. But we'll see more merry-go-rounds. Don't tell me you've forgotten it already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his metal. Or of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
Yes, that's fine, it's just... But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Yeah. Of course. What? I didn't think so. What? Oh, great, Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? Expound, or is it expand? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? But then why would he hide that fact? Ah! What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Bird nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and a detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time. Oh. Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright! I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimonies been given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. But why would he hide that fact? I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition, and the corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door, and the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Oh. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. Ah! My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? Yes, that's what I like to know. You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would be the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. Well, earlier you were like saying it can't be anyone else but Starbuck, so... It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to prevent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Is he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes, the judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! This is the perfect time to try and turn your thinking around. Or my thinking around. If the third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person?
Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person.
The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Nope! Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility.
Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright.
There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. And we're going to find out what happens when Phoenix Wright puts the blame on Director Cosmos in the next video. I'll see you guys then.